An unidentified sculpture appeared overnight in central London, leaving local authorities and art enthusiasts baffled. Now everyone is trying to figure out who actually made it. Since the 1990s, nobody knows for sure who Banksy is. The artist has been leaving anonymous stencils across UK streets for decades, keeping their true identity a total secret. Staying anonymous lets Banksy bypass traditional art galleries, using the public London streets to post blunt political messages that effectively disrupt the city. This calculated anonymity isn't a mere marketing gimmick, it strategically builds the artist's power and directly drives the rising market value of his entire collection. Banksy stays anonymous to build a brand around mystery. This intentional lack of identity makes his stencils and sculptures more valuable and highly sought after by global collectors. People treat Banksy like a modern superhero, a mythic figure whose stencil work carries more weight than the actual person behind the spray paint. The artist has gone to great lengths to preserve his anonymity since the 1990s. Now, fans and collectors are questioning how this apparent unmasking might affect the resonance of his work. The apparent unmasking of Banksy has sparked controversy, as fans and collectors question how the revelation might affect the value of his work. While it is unclear if the artist received official permission for the installation, Westminster City Council stated they have no plans to remove the piece. The appearance of the artist's signature on the base has sparked debate over the unmasking of Banksy, an artist who has long preserved his anonymity. The installation is positioned in Waterloo Place, near the heroic statues of King Edward VII and Florence Nightingale. It sits alongside the Crimean War Memorial. On Wednesday, commuters and tourists in central London found a large, unexpected statue blocking a busy sidewalk, causing immediate confusion throughout the area. The large sculpture was erected in the early hours of Wednesday on a traffic island in Waterloo Place. The piece, which features a signature on its base, appeared near the Crimean War Memorial. You can find the sculpture in Waterloo Place, right near Buckingham Palace. This spot works because it puts the piece right in front of daily Londoners and the massive crowds of tourists visiting the city's biggest landmarks. This specific street corner holds real historical weight and a legacy of local heroism, serving as a permanent monument to those who stood their ground. Placing this piece near old monuments forces us to compare modern street art with London's history. This juxtaposition invites a deeper look at how contemporary works interact with the city's long-standing architectural legacy. The new sculpture is right next to the statues of King Edward VII and the famous nurse Florence Nightingale. These figures embody British service, so this subversive modern sculpture feels like a direct, jarring intrusion into the city's landscape. It sits near the Crimean War Memorial, positioning this controversial figure next to the most famous icons of British history. Seeing a modern, satirical figure positioned right next to a solemn wartime memorial feels jarring and tense for anyone walking through the square. The sculpture shows a man in a suit, stepping forward off a plinth. He leans into his stride, looking less stuck than the other heavy, unmoving monuments nearby, creating a sense of momentum compared to the surrounding static figures. His movement feels inherently wrong. He carries a massive, heavy flag with just one hand, and the thick fabric hangs low enough to hide his entire face from view. This hides the figure's face, much like the artist's own hidden identity, which makes the subject feel completely anonymous. This visual choice makes the piece look like a satire of blind patriotism, arguing that nationalistic fervor actually blinds a citizenry to reality. Here, the flag stops representing pride and instead hides the truth from everyone watching, obscuring the reality underneath. When people saw the sculpture in St. James's on Wednesday, its massive size immediately caught everyone's attention and started a local conversation. The massive sculpture sits right in the street, forcing everyone walking nearby to look at it. Moving that statue was a massive undertaking. Workers apparently finished the entire installation during the early hours of Wednesday morning. The installation of such a large object in a prominent location remains unclear, especially as London generally requires an extensive review process for public art. However, video snippets shared by the artist show the sculpture was put up in the dead of night. This didn't slowly creep in, it was a sudden, overnight takeover of our shared and public space, occurring with a rapid intensity that transformed the landscape almost instantly. Moving this quickly required a coordinated crew and heavy machinery, working entirely under the cover of darkness to avoid detection. People guessed the artist's identity for a while, but the truth surfaced once someone spotted Banksy written on the plinth's base. This simple, handwritten signature finally gave reporters and art historians the definitive proof they needed to confirm the painting's true origin. East SM on Thursday, the artist confirmed what everyone suspected. This official verification finally ended the circulating rumors and turned the widespread speculation into a major global news story. Banksy shared a video on his Instagram, which has 13.8 million followers, showing clips of the installation happening late at night. The footage captured the secretive process of the artwork being placed in its location.